Julia Kayam is a CNN senior national security analyst, a Harvard professor, and former assistant secretary for the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It's good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Jeffrey Goldberg's experience illustrates why a free, open source, non-government messaging app isn't ideal for sharing classified information. But isn't it like some kind of security briefing or something, for these incredibly high-ranking government officials? Do they get a brochure, maybe a book, communicating top secret information for dummies? What happens in a normal White House?
In a normal White House, even a slightly sloppy White House, none of this behavior would have occurred. Remember, this is an unapproved, unauthorized app on government phones or however each individual person was accessing them. The sheer sloppiness of it is bad. The illegality is probable, and the dangerousness is very high. They added someone. I mean, in other words, they're sort of lucky it was Jeffrey Goldberg, who sort of has standards and knows what to do and knows what his responsibility is to his nation. They could have added anyone. It took them, they didn't even realize they had this random person in this group text exchange until he identifies himself. I mean, it's not just sloppiness, it's arrogance, it's this, these emojis. I'm trying to figure out which part I sort of am disgusted with the most, but these the fist emojis with the American flag, it's children at this stage. And Hegseth is like the leader of that group.
Goldberg refers to a number of messages from the Secretary of Defense, Hegseth, which he does not quote directly for the article because of his own concerns over national security. But he does add this. Yeah. What I will say, in order to illustrate the shocking recklessness of this single conversation, is the Hegseth posts contain operational details of forthcoming strikes on Yemen, including information about targets, weapons the US would be deploying, and attack sequencing. So just in terms of an operational leak, just how bad could this have been? And what laws have been violated during this chat?
Here's the thing that no one is talking about, or not enough people are talking about, because I use Signal, because we're both in this space. There's detailed plans, presumably on a secure computer, that really don't need to be shared with that group. That's a large group. It includes the chief of staff. It includes the deputy chief of staff, people who don't need to know the operational details. Somehow it gets from a, what we call a high side classified computer into Signal. Now, you can't do that many ways. It either means that he emailed it to himself or he downloaded it. So I think one of the reasons why you're seeing Hegseth come on so strong, even denying things that the White House has already confirmed, that in fact the conversation did take place, is because of these really egregious classified material breaches.
I want you to listen to the reaction from Hegseth when to this article in the Atlantic magazine. Here he is.
You're talking about a deceitful and highly discredited so-called journalist who's made a profession of peddling hoaxes time and time again, to include the hoaxes of Russia, or the fine people on both sides hoax, or suckers and losers hoax. So this is the guy that peddles in garbage. This is what he does.
Well, the US president reposted a tweet from Elon Musk, which was mocking the Atlantic magazine. He wrote, the best place to hide a dead body is on page 2 of the Atlantic because no one ever goes there. Musk actually lifted that from someone else. It seems neither the president nor the defense secretary is addressing the real problem here.
Yeah, no, it's not. I mean, look, they're on offense. Remember, this is a group of people who have allegiance to Trump, but not to each other. And we've seen it before in the Trump administration. The knives are out amongst themselves. This is not going to be fun to watch. It is not. It's not pretty. But that's what happens when you put exceptionally lazy, unqualified and sloppy people in these high positions.
I want you to listen to the Trump apologists over at Fox.
Yes.
Here we are.
What you will see is dialogue between Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, Stephen Miller, Tulsi Gabbard, and many more in a very collaborative, open, honest, team-based attempt to come to the right decision after years of secrecy and incompetence.
Oh, please. 2 words here. Hillary's emails.
Yeah. I don't even need to bring them up. I mean, it's so apples and oranges.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Defense Secretary and the others on that call, for that matter, or the signal conversation, I should say. So thank you for being with us and explaining how things should work in a proper White House.
Yeah.